Are you mystified by mysteries?
Or can you crack the craziest cases?
We're looking for chief detectives to join us on our investigations into some of the strangest stories from around the world.
We'll analyse aliens, look for the Loch Ness Monster and hunt out curses. We'll present you with the best evidence and the most interesting facts.
And then it'll be up to you to decide and tell us what you think.
Will you be a mythbuster like me?
Or a myth-truster like me?
If you want to be our chief detective, join us on Bust or Trust, a kids mystery podcast. Every week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music and all other places you listen to podcasts.
You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. That play? Oh, wait, is this play? Oh, am I recording now? Or now? Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. I wonder why people who test mics can't count any higher than 2. It is so weird. Right, I think that's recording now. Time to sound professional. Just got to get rid of all my burps. And blow my nose. Perfect. And pat this owl. Oh, I'm so glad no one will ever hear this beginning warm-up bit before I start the podcast. Hello and welcome, I think, to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that, is it here? Is this it? Yes, that is suitable for all ages from... to and everything in between. I'm Tiernan and my head. Sorry. Ow. Look, I've just got to tell you, a letter arrived at Comedy Club for Kids HQ this week that said it was important to save energy. So I am trying my best to do that, and that means I'm recording this week's podcast completely in the dark. But it does mean that I'm also not entirely sure where anything is. I mean, I think this is the mic I'm talking into, but it may also be a banana, and no one's hearing any of this. Who cares, right? At least I'm saving energy. I'm not sure what I'm saving it from. I guess a sort of energy kidnapping monster or something, but at least now that energy kidnapping monster has been thwarted, as I've saved the energy from it. It's definitely one of the easiest rescue jobs I've ever had to do, actually. I once tried to save a tired bee by giving it some sugar water, but it just told me it hated sugar water and it wanted a mochaccino coffee with extra sprinkles or I could get lost. And then I had to make it a really fancy coffee and it still just stuck around. It was really annoying. But this saving energy, well, I've just turned everything off. That felt quite easy. No one's really told me how much energy I should be saving, though, and that's a problem. What if I'm saving too much energy? Linda! How much energy should I be saving, Linda? Linda! She might actually be here, but I'd not be able to see her, so who knows? Linda, if you're here, do 12 fancy tap dancing steps. No, it's just me and the farting animals. I wish they'd save their energy. Of course, you see, farting is using energy, isn't it? Yelling for Linda is also using energy. Somehow I need to use even less energy than just having the lights off. Maybe I'll just stay very still while I read out things from this week's mailbag. Hang on. How do I empty the mailbag without using any energy? I'll just try to tip it over using my toe. No, hang on. Where is it, though? That's a problem. I need to know where it is to tip it over. Oh, is that it? No, that was my emergency lettuce. Oh, wait, okay, I think that's it. No, that was an airplane for mice. Oh, yeah, there it is. No, just 2 and... Great. So, firstly this week I have to do something that's never happened on Radio Nonsense before, and that is give a shout out to a globby smell fungus. Sorry, I mean grown up. Yes, that is right. Ava, and I've been told to say not Elsie or Nelly, has asked that I give a happy birthday shout out to her mum, whose name is, and I hope I'm reading this right, Vanessa/Ness/Nessie, which is a very long name. Is that first, middle, and surname? I'm not sure, but I am impressed that your name, Vanessa/Ness/Nessie, includes your favourite lock and lock-based monster. So, as requested, it's going to use quite a lot of energy. Birthday shout-out. Happy birthday! Oh, I'm probably getting in trouble for that. Anyway, even though globby smell funguses, grown-ups, don't really like anyone knowing their age, Ava has said her mum is turning 45. And I'm saying that, I'm revealing that because, let me tell you, 45 is a brilliant age. And let me explain to you why. Well, firstly, the number 45, if you look at it, it looks like someone's nose and then an ear, which is great. So if you just drew a little eye sort of in between them, you'd have a face. 45 is also the dialing code for Denmark. So if someone presses your nose, Vanessa, they'll be able to speak to anyone in Danish. That is true. And, of course, 45 is not 100, which would mean you'd have to stop listening to this show for a year, and that would be awful. I do hope you have a really, really excellent birthday times that include, what is good at 45? A sit-down and some porridge. So, thanks, Ava, for sending that in for your mum. I've also been sent a farting dinosaur from Taco Ben in the US, who, as you probably all know, he's the main Ben for tacos. So thanks for sending that in, Taco Ben. I'm a bit worried about putting the farting dinosaur with the farting animals in case it eats them all. But I'm also not sure where else to keep it because it keeps doing this. Great. Save your energy, farting dinosaur. Save your energy. And big thanks also to Tilly, who wrote a lovely review for this show saying it helps her feel comfortable when she's feeling scared or down. Thanks, Tilly. Though, wait a minute. Comfortable? Are you sitting on this podcast? Well, I hope not, and I hope it's just making you comfy from listening. Tilly is apparently -10, so I am chuffed that even people who won't be born for 10 more years tune in. Wow, that is amazing. And, of course, if you want to write a review for this show, you can do that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on a leaf, and then hand it to a squirrel with a payment of 2 acorns, and it should get here by the weekend. And if you want to give your globby smell funguses, grown-ups, a birthday shout-out, or you just want to tell me anything else, send in jokes, or ask an importantest question that needs to be answered, just get those very same grown-ups to help you email us at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. And don't forget to check out our live Comedy Club for Kids shows at comedyclubforkids.co.uk and grab our t-shirts and book at comedyclubforkids.store. And I'm going to have to use lots of energy to tell you this. The Bust or Trust Kids Mystery Podcast is now out. It's co-hosted by me and the very funny Athena Kugblenu, and each week we will present one of the world's greatest mysteries, and it's up to you listeners to be our chief detectives, hear the evidence and tell us what you think. The first 2 are about Bigfoot and the lost city of Atlantis, and I would love you to subscribe and listen to that too. And I would especially love it if you want to send us in any voice notes to that show about if you're on my team, Team Truster, or Athena's Team Buster. I've put a link in this week's show blurb, but you can also ask your grown-ups to search for Bust or Trust on wherever they get their podcasts from, or next time, the Podgoblin's in town. Oh dear, that was quite a lot of energy to tell you that, wasn't it? That's really not good. I'm meant to be saving energy. This is awful. Well, listen, I'm going to work out how to use even less energy to help out while you listen to this week's most importantest bit. I do have to let you know, as I know some of you have written in to say, that sometimes the sound on this show isn't as good as it should be, and that is true. I mean, I record all this by shouting into a bucket, and it's connected by a bit of string to another bit of string that's connected to a tree, and then sometimes that's the best sound I get. I do use an equalizer to make this show, but now all the eyes are equal. That hasn't really helped the sound quality whatsoever. Anyway, as you're here on this week, the guests are in Australia, the other side of the world from me. And Matt sounds great, but Rich is a bit quiet at times because I think he was using a tin can on an even longer piece of string, which can't have helped, and maybe a bird landed on it or something. So I hope you're all able to hear it okay, and you can enjoy this silliness.
A lot of energy goes to waste in the kitchen.
I absolutely cannot believe it, but back here on Radio Nonsense are the Listies, Rich and Matt, aka Matt and Rich, who know approximately one witch, aka Ricardles and Metables, the world's greatest broccoli tamers, and of course, as all our Corsican-speaking listeners know you as Che so I picotti ci hanno disturbato un mo papagallo dorme. But you are both most famous for translating the entire hand dryer language into English for your research into curing people of having stingy lower appendages, so everything they do is of no mean feat, and for receiving the Men of the Match trophy for your parts in the world's longest ever conga line. Matt and Rich, it's so nice to have you back on the show. How are you?
Oh, what an intro, isn't that? Like, I'm all crying. Look at me, I'm crying now.
Oh, Matt's in tears. I just love the use of no mean feet there. That was. I mean, props to you, Tiernan.
Well, I mean,
but
props to you, but I didn't do it. You know, these are your achievements, and I don't want to take credit. It would be rude of me to take credit for the things that you have achieved. But you know, I did do my research. There's a lot of research to do about you two.
Did you get ChatGPT to write that intro, or did you write that intro? Because it's absolute nonsense. None of that is true. Matt, did you write this intro?
I've got to admit I did, and I'll take all of the credit for all of those achievements. Thank you. And there's a long list of people I'd like to thank. And number one is myself. Well done, me. I'm very proud of me. Me has done an amazing job.
That's wow. It's so nice. You
broccoli tamer. What are you on about?
Have you never taken to broccoli, Rich?
No, Matt doesn't even eat broccoli. This is like the opposite. I have to say, Matt persuaded me to be on this podcast, and he said it was radio sense.
No,
and we were going to just talk about facts. And as far as I can hear so far, it's radio nonsense. Yes. Is that really what this podcast is called? No, Radio Sense is
absolutely, it's our rival podcast. I can't stand them. They are awful people, very boring, always wear suits they don't even have the top button done up. They have a button above that's done up that digs right into the neck, and they all talk like that. And they say really serious things they talk about accounting and other sensible car parts. It's not fun, and I'm so sorry. Inflation and other balloon things, but not the fun, because balloons are fun, but somehow they make it not fun.
They are.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't be on Radio Sense, would they?
No, it's a terrible podcast. No.
Well, can I just put my oar in here and say Radio Sense sounds like a wonderful podcast. Car parks sounds like a very entertaining thing to talk about. That's why they're called parks. Like, they're parks for cars. How could that? I mean, they're my favorite color, which is grey. What's not to like,
a rubbish
guys?
Part. Like for parks for people, you get swings, you get a pond. What do cars get? They sit in a little box and go nowhere. That's rubbish. Like, where's a big seesaw with one car on each, which sounds terrifying now I'm saying it out loud. But
oh my goodness, or a slippery dip.
Yeah.
The cars can go down. Well, I guess that's a ramp, but like a big ramp.
Matt, you're gonna have to explain a slippery dip for our international listeners.
You don't know what a slippery dip is?
I just assumed it was a dip that's very slippery.
I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like a big thing with a ladder that you climb to the top of, and then you sit, and then you slide down it.
Oh
no! Isn't a slippery dip when you put a tarpaulin on the side of a hill and put a hose on it, and you can whiz down it? Isn't that what a slippery dip is?
That's a slip and slide.
Oh right, because we'd say a slide for a slippery dip. That's what we just go for slide. But then I guess I don't know what we'd call a slip and slide. That would probably just be a slip and call an ambulance.
Can I just say that slide? Well, often that's how it ends in Australia.
Right.
But we're pretty hardcore. I would just say that a slide, that's very Radio Sense. A slippery dip, that's very radio nonsense.
I can't disagree with that. I've never heard the name slippery dip before. I much prefer it. In my head, before you described it as what we know as a slide, I just thought it was a chaotic, rather terrifying mudslidey situation that ended with calling an ambulance. But that's a slip and... I mean, it seems like you've got a lot of situations that end up with someone calling an ambulance.
Well, I mean...
Could I actually put in a real fact at this point, which I think is representing those listeners who are accidentally listening to... thought they were tuning into Radio Sense, but this actually has some nonsense involved and does involve someone going to a hospital. Okay. My dad's a car mechanic, and when I was a kid, he took car polish to the park and polished the slide to such a high, this is a true story, to such a high sheen that we were going down on our butts, just flying off the end, like seriously, like 3 or 4 meters off the end. It was so fast. And then a kid tried it with their like polar fleece, which made it even faster. And then someone broke their arm.
Wow.
And my dad got into trouble.
That's amazing.
They broke their collarbone. They broke their arm from just going down a slide that was too fast.
It's not a birthday party here in Australia unless it ends in the hospital.
It's amazing.
Happy birthday.
I also was weirdly,
the emergency room gives you a card.
I was weirdly comforted by the fact that they just broke it up. I thought you were going to say they went into space and were never seen again. That's where I thought it was going to go. So breaking your arm feels more sensible.
No, breaking your arm, that's radio sense. Flying into space, yes, radio nonsense.
That's fair.
So,
and did you also smell of car polish for weeks?
Still does.
Still does.
I actually, another radio sense fact, I still find garages, the smell of oily garage vaguely comforting.
Wow. That's...
There you go.
It reminds you of fun times.
Speaking of smelling vaguely comforting, what's our question? What's our question?
What's your question? Well, I've
this is the question.
I've got look. We've had an amazing question come in for you two actually, but I've got to ask you some admin questions first. I hope that is. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna ask you firstly how you both are. I haven't actually asked you how you are. Are you well? Are you unwell? Are you violently ill? How are you?
Well, I had a lot of hot sauce on my dinner. Yep. I'm pretty sweaty. My shoes are a bit tight. This chair's actually really uncomfortable that I'm sitting on. What else? I feel a bit hungry. Sometimes I get a bit scared when I see a dog.
This is boring.
I see a dog and then I get a bit.
I'm going to give you a podcast.
And what else? There's heaps of things. Thank you for asking.
Does that happen?
Actually,
can I ask Tiernan, when I talk over the top of Matt, does it go over the top of him, or do you just flip between us in a weird way?
I mean, I just sort of play it all. I don't really understand how editing works. The listeners just get a sort of gabble of noise. And because to edit this into sort of streamlined conversation would be too radio sense for this show. People don't want conversation they can actually understand. Who wants that? That sounds awful.
Well, anyway, back to how I am. I'm also a little bit worried that the Marvel movies have lost their way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I found Quantumania very difficult to understand. I think that we're having a terrible tomato season here in Australia.
Can I interrupt?
So many feelings.
And just say, Matt, I think people are going. I think you've accidentally dropped onto Radio Sense. You flipped. You're on the wrong podcast. Yes, you're giving a literal answer of how you are. This is the world gone topsy turvy. I'm the sensible one. You're the nonsensical one.
Oh, now I'm scared. Well, that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling scared.
To balance this out, Rich, you have to give if I ask you how you are, you have to give a nonsensical answer. Otherwise, something awful might happen.
Okay. Well, I accidentally I got my clothing advice mixed up the other day and wore 2 pairs of trousers and 1 shoe, which was stressful. I answered a spam email by printing it out and putting it between 2 pieces of paper and putting tomato sauce on it and eating it like it was spam. I followed a cat around all day because I was doing cat work experience. It just goes on, you know. I had not, and it was just disturbing. I need to get back to some sense. Someone out there, I'll do your tax return.
Whoa, that's a big offer. That is, and all our listeners are of the ages where they need some help with their tax returns. So that's a really good offer.
Yeah, exactly.
A very good offer.
Exactly.
Following a cat around all day for work, you must that must have been quite difficult, because there's probably some moments following a cat that's quite easy, where you get to sort of lie down in the sun. There's other bits where you have to balance on a fence or just sort of scrap with another cat. It sounds awful.
Don't even get me started on cleaning out the litter box.
Oh,
oof!
No,
it was real.
Hey, I was doing as I was instructed.
Do you feel, Rich, that you could now take up a job as a cat? Have you got enough experience to be a cat professionally?
I think I need a few more days because hairballs. We didn't get up to hairballs, which looked genuinely difficult. You know, when you got to One of those.
They always look so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. But then like the cats just need to have a shower instead of like sort of cleaning themselves with their tongue, don't they? And then they wouldn't get hairballs.
I've got a system and I'm not going to mess with it. It works for them. Imagine how satisfying it is when you get that lump out, though. Like, that would be like squeezing a big pimple, or like when you blow your nose and a big chunk of snot comes out. It would be so satisfying to go, ah, thank goodness for that. Tempted to just
it is the most horrible noise. The noise that they have to make to
in a little case or something like Stimpy does.
It's the noise that they have to make that sounds. It sounds like the worst sound, because I had cats as a kid, and just when they're hacking up a hairball, it sounds like some sort of sound from like the underworld. It sounds like something's about to burst through the floor and try and eat your brains. It's like it's a noise that doesn't come from anywhere else. Cats and like evil creatures. That's it. Terrible.
I mean, I do recommend it. If anyone out there needs to do work experience, I recommend a cat. Give it a go.
Tricky hours as well, mostly nighttime.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. We were up all night chasing balls.
But that's okay, because we're in Australia, which means when you're doing, like, it's the opposite down here, isn't it? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
Yeah. I'm in the past. I'm in the past compared to you. You two are in the future as we're talking. Yeah.
Everyone here is a cat.
Whoa.
In the future.
That's true.
Quick.
In about 2 hours, everyone around you is just going to turn into a cat. But thankfully, Rich did all that work experience, so he's really nailing it.
I did.
Future, aren't you, Rich? Yeah.
Should I be? Now that you've told me this, I think probably like after we finish talking, I should get like some milk ready and probably some. Now that you've warned me, I feel that I've got a head start.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the population might panic, but now I can kind of go ahead. Probably, I don't know, put some pilchards out. I don't really know what you do. Yeah,
that's an excellent idea.
Yeah. I assumed pilchards. Pilchards, probably pilchards.
I'm just gonna float this idea. Yeah. Should we just do the rest of the podcast in cat meows? Would that be annoying if we did that? Just so that this is the first episode of Radio Nonsense for the new cat era.
I would. Maybe? Would I have to call it? Would I have to rename it to like Meowsons? Radio Meowsons?
Yeah, if you want.
No, it would be. It would be.
Yeah, that's my worry. Is
let's do it.
I speak with authority. I speak with authority because I have. I can get through a cat flap. I'm qualified.
Is it? Wow, you can get through. You can fit.
Yeah, you should see me get through a cat flap.
That sounds impressive, actually. I feel like I'd get stuck.
Yeah, I now. Yeah.
Is this a TikTok?
Well, the trick is, I mean, what cats teach you and what I now know is that if I can get my head through something, I can get my whole body through it.
Wow, that's very impressive, actually.
So
yeah. That's very impressive. Do you have to? No, do you know what? I kind of don't want to ask questions. I kind of hope I get to see this at some point, as Matt said, maybe on a TikTok or.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
This is we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're not going to do live theatre shows no more. No, we're not going to write books. We're not going to make albums anymore. What we're going to do is we're just going to find cat flaps and film Richard trying to get through them.
I like it, but also you could just appear
on TikTok, getting through them. You could just
appear in people's houses because you've crawled through the air vents, or appeared through like I don't know small. I don't know, like small windows. Like if you can get through a cat flap, there's a whole world of caving and exploring that you can do.
What if?
I mean, but I'm more focused on getting fed by like five different houses.
That's way better.
And them not knowing about each other and having five different names.
Does that make getting out of the last cat flap again really hard? Because maybe the first cat flap's easy, but after 5 dinners, the last cat flap's going to be really hard.
Yeah, that's true. You have to have ascending sizes of cat flap. And by the end, it's more like sort of the channel tunnel size.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if
the channel tunnel a cat flap? Like, cats ever come from France to England? Does that ever happen? Through the channel tunnel?
Whoa.
Like, is there a cat flap on the channel tunnel? Just asking for a friend.
That would explain a lot, actually. That explain a lot. I don't know if we ever actually had cats in the UK until the channel tunnel was built, and I think now we just only have French cats that head over, eat dinners, and then leave again.
That's why cats always look
and
so
complain
smug.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, yum, yum,
And
yum.
they complain. And they complain about the quality of the food.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this pilchard, it has no sauce on it. What is it? Just tomato sauce. Al vulgar.
What's a pilchard? What is that?
You know, I don't really know.
What is it?
I don't know, but it sounds good, doesn't it? I think it is a smallish fish, but it's one of those ones that listed, like, because cat food always has lots of stuff in it that cats couldn't possibly hunt in real life. Like, some cat food's got all these fish in it, and you think they wouldn't go into the depths of the sea. They wouldn't ever be bothered. Or, like, when it's got beef in it, and you think a cat couldn't, like, get a cow. That's not going to happen. That's just not.
Oh, where's a cat ever going to eat a cow?
It's not going to happen.
Au contraire, Tiernan. As a French cat would say, au contraire.
Well, knowing they're French, I assume most cats have their own chef that will prepare the cow accordingly, and it does all make a lot more sense. But
yeah, that's so true. Matt, just so you know, a pilchard is like a sardine from Aldi.
Right.
Oh, got it.
That's a good
explanation. Yeah, it's like a
It sounds like
a
rude
not
word.
as
pilchard.
It sounds rude. Yeah, it sounds rude.
Pilchards.
That's like probably the rudest word I've ever heard in my life. What a pilchard.
Yeah, your pilchard face.
I grew up on pilchards.
Did you? That must have been slippy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that might be actually why the slide was so fast. Is that my dad polished the slide, and also I was just like, I grew up on an exclusive pilchard diet, 100% pilchards. So I had so much omega-3 coating my whole body. And it
explains why the cats didn't mind you sort of following them about as well.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel a lot has come out.
Oh, that's true.
This. You know, I was so worried that we were going to go down a radio sensory, but I feel, if anything, we've learned a lot about Richard's pilchards.
Stop saying
pilchard.
Stop saying that word. Stop it.
Pilchard origins.
Stop saying pilchard. It's rude.
I'm very sorry. I do apologise.
Tiernan, maybe pilchard is actually my name, and I misheard it.
Wow.
Like, maybe my name's not Richard, because maybe my parents are cats, and they called me which is pilchard in cat. And I just went, oh, Richard, okay. And they were like, come on, cat. And I was like, and then they were saying, come on, pilchard, it's time to go to school, pilchard.
I mean, this is very possible.
My
and
goodness.
I dare say, Matt, could it be possible that your real name is Sprat, and the two of you are actually a fish-based
pilchard
comedy
and Sprat.
duo? Yeah.
Maybe Matt is cat.
Maybe cat.
Maybe Matt is cat.
Matt and pilchard.
Matt. Cat.
And then Sprat is another fish. Sprat is not another fish that we don't have in Australia. So Matt's confused.
I see.
Sprat is could you explain what a sprat is?
Another fish. I don't really know anything else about it. I think it's probably small. I assume it's not whale sized. So other than that, it's.
Hang on.
I think it's somewhere between the size of a whale and the size of a flea. That's all the information I have on it. Yeah.
Got it. 100% no. It's a fish.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah,
everything that's alive in Australia is massive.
Yes,
that's the problem here. Like
everything's poisonous.
Massive. Like spiders, massive. Snakes, massive. Lizards, massive. Everything's massive. So the idea of a small animal just doesn't compute with Matt's
everything
brain,
in the
does
UK
it?
is just small and harmless, and generally doesn't like to be bothered. So it's a very different. It's a very different game, but also means I'm completely unprepared and could probably be taken out by a wasp. So it's probably would wasp, if anything, too dangerous. I think probably an irate squirrel could ruin my life. So I do feel like it doesn't prepare us. Whereas you have to walk out the door and you're fighting a 12-foot spider and then punching a shark just to buy your groceries, and it's a very different life. But also you're in the future.
Yeah. You can get headbutted by a lizard. Just a gecko will come and just headbutt.
Really
you.
Vicious. So vicious. I don't know how you
That's why
you've always got to have a gecko head helmet on at all times in case a gecko headbutts you. So make sure if you come to Australia to bring your gecko helmet.
Very invaluable advice. Listen, invaluable advice.
That's another.
I have to ask. I have to ask you for more invaluable advice. I mean, as I said earlier, somewhere before we started, learning that I'm going to turn into a cat in about an hour and a half. I've got some admin questions for you two, just very quickly, that we do have to get through, and I hope that's okay. The first one is, I'm not sure if you're aware, but this is an audio podcast, and all of our listeners tend to listen to it with their ears, but they may also listen with their bums, their knees. We don't really discriminate however they want to listen to it. That is fine. Okay. I just wondered if you had a favourite noise that you could tell us about, or preferably even make for the show.
A favourite noise? That's a ridiculous suggestion. I mean, that sounds like that would never happen. Can I just say, before we answer this, that would never happen on Radio Sense?
No, Radio Sense, I think, have a favourite sigh of disappointment that they have to do. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe they have
Matt, do you have a favourite noise?
The favourite quiet round of applause on Radio Sense. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's very good. I like that.
It's very boring. Favourite shuffling of papers.
Radio Sense sounds good. Can we do that podcast next?
How dare you?
Radio Sense sounds a lot like In Our Time with Melvin Bragg.
All the listeners now are absolutely on board with that. It's their favourite show, I'm pretty sure, of 7 and 8 year olds that tune into this show. Big fans of Melvin Bragg.
That would be so funny if Melvin Bragg did do a podcast about cats or something with 8 and 9 year olds. That would be... Anyway, let's move on. Matt, I have a favourite sound, and it's very sensible, actually. It's actually the sound of my parents saying my name and me hearing it for the first time, which is...
Wow.
I've got tears in my eyes now, hopefully one of my siblings will lick off with their extremely rough tongue.
Yes, that is horrible.
Wow.
I would say
just a little warning to everybody who's listening: don't lick your siblings. Don't do it. You're not cats yet. No. In the future, you'll all be transformed into cats. But right now, don't do it right now.
May as well enjoy not doing it until you have to.
Yeah, and then when it just becomes like your job, then you do it.
Yeah.
But if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Wow. You know what I mean?
And cats don't have jobs.
Yeah, apart from being a
which
cat,
is good.
Which is a job that you have to get experience for.
Which is a job that you have to do work experience and then an apprenticeship and all of that kind of gear. Yeah.
Sort of
Don't tell me. I mean, the one thing I am concerned about is that if people listen to this podcast with their ears, elbows, other parts that I won't mention because they're rude.
He means bums. I'm just going to, sorry, Rich, I'm just going to stop you there. I'm just going to clarify. The word that Rich does want to say is bum.
Yeah.
Bum,
we're never going to get on Melvin Bragg.
Badonkadonk, booty.
Can we move on?
Backside.
Okay.
Just letting you know. Sorry, you continue, Rich. You just keep going. I just wanted everybody to know that the word that you weren't saying was bum or bottom or maybe backside.
Okay.
Badonkadonk,
Matt. Badonkadonk is not a scientific word, okay? People don't know what the word badonkadonk means, okay? What would badonkadonk mean? Who would say such a word?
I thought scientists would be, we've got to inject you in the badonkadonk.
It's in the song, Rich. The hip bone's connected to the badonkadonk. In the song.
Oh, I didn't know that. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
But if it's an audio experience, how are people going to see when I get through a cat flap later on the podcast?
Well, it'll all be.
You'll just have to describe it.
You can describe it, and I think they'll get a lot from that actually. Even just our sort of our noises of surprise, astonishment. I think that will carry across. So I wouldn't worry about it.
I have actually another noise, speaking of animals, and it's very impressive, and your listeners are going to be like, they're going to think there's a real dolphin on the podcast. You're going to be amazed. You're going to think, wow, the podcast went to the set of Flipper or SeaWorld or other places where dolphins are, maybe a hippie's tattoo. They're going to think that they are there because I can do such a good dolphin noise.
Yes,
do you want to hear it?
Yep.
Here we go. I just have to prepare.
Wow.
Thoughts?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
What do you think?
I worry that's going to attract a lot more cats.
Well, I couldn't really hear you. We couldn't really hear you because your microphone cut out. So what we got to see for the listeners at home is you just pushing your cheeks with your fingers.
Yes.
You can't hear that?
Nah.
Well, that is very upsetting. If you, Tiernan, in post, could you just insert a really realistic dolphin impression?
Okay, I don't know what in post. I'll send something in the post. I'll put a dolphin in the post.
Yeah.
And then when it
put a dolphin in the mail
to every listener, and then when they open the mail, the dolphin will make a noise at them, and they'll know how it sounded. It's going to be very expensive, and I'll probably get in a lot of trouble because people shouldn't put dolphins in envelopes. But
I think it's worth it.
I think it's absolutely worth it. Matt, can I just check? Did you have a noise as well, or I mean, because Matt's done, Rich has done two.
Yeah, I've done two, Matt.
Well, I think my new favorite noise is probably the noise of Richard's dolphin, but like the absence of the noise of it. Like I love that.
Wow.
I love it. I love that it's not there because what it does is it opens up your mind to be able to just add in your own dolphin. Like everyone's own personal dolphin journey can just track along through that little space that Richard made in a podcast for everybody. So everyone, just think of your own ultimate like dolphin noise, and then Rich, can you do your dolphin?
Look, if
noise
no
now?
one's,
and we'll all just add
if no one's going to help me make it, my dolphin noise is really good. It's not my fault that technology got rid of it. So if you're listening to the podcast and you want to hear what my impression was, just Google best dolphin impression ever.wav and you will hear it on the internet. Anyway, let's move on. Matt, what's your podcast sound?
Other than that, my favorite noise is probably, it's pretty easy. It's classic for a reason.
Classic for a reason.
It is a classic. And
classic for a reason.
I appreciate you saving a fart just for that moment for the podcast.
No worries. I didn't save it. I've just got heaps.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair.
I've got heaps. I've got heaps of them.
Boasting now. Boasting, really.
Well, it's everyone has their own skills.
I've got one more very quick admin question for you both, which is simply that this is a family-friendly show. It's suitable for people of all. It's suitable for every age you could possibly imagine. Can either of you imagine an age?
42.
Yeah, definitely 42.
That's the oldest.
The medieval
that age as well, Bronze Age as well. It's suitable for any age you can imagine. Not 100. Long story. Not going to go into it. No 100-year-olds allowed. But every other age is absolutely suitable for. And I just wanted to check on that basis if there are any rude words you won't be saying during this show.
Well, I'm not going to say pilchard, but you guys would just say pilchard heaps, which is a disgusting word.
Right. I'm not going to say pilchard again.
Well,
I won't say it. I won't say pilchard. I won't say it. I will never say pilchard. I won't. Nope, I promise I won't.
I will. Yeah, okay, Matt, stop saying pilchard.
Pilchard. I won't say it. No, I won't say pilchard. I won't.
Don't.
I won't say pilchard.
Matt,
I promise I will.
No one is allowed to say pilchard.
No one. It's a rude word. Pilchard.
It's not a rude word. It's the name of a fish, Matt.
Oh, that poor fish.
And also,
that poor fish has got a rude
first name, which would mean that we couldn't ever address you on the podcast again.
Oh no.
That's true. My name, Matt. I did Ancestry.com, and maybe I think that some of the pilchards were actually from my. So that is my family name that you're dissing right now. I looked it up on 23andMe. I did my DNA, and I've now connected to all the pilchards. So I have to say, also, I was on a train platform the other day, and someone said a word really loud.
Talk about bragging.
Show off.
Everyone, I know.
Yeah, whatever.
I know.
I caught a bus,
but
no
everyone
big deal.
Was really, really upset with the this phrase that someone said. It was so upset, and I was like, "Oh, I've never heard this before." So it must be actually the rudest word ever, because the whole platform was like, "Oh," like they're offended. Am I allowed to say it?
Well, I mean, if you don't say it, I won't know what it is. To
bus replacement service.
Oh. Sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, bus replacement service.
Say that again.
Bus replacement service.
No,
bus replacement service.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
You'll never get on Radio Sense saying words like that, Rich.
I don't think you'll get on anything. I think that's the sort of thing that will have you erased from the internet and in fact, sort of public life.
Cancelled.
Absolutely cancelled. We will receive all the complaints.
Rich will get cancelled.
Just look.
Okay,
Please
I won't
don't say
that
bus
anymore.
replacement service. I definitely wouldn't ever be found dead saying bus replacement service. It's horrendous. Well, thank you. Thank you both for avoiding saying pilchard, bus replacement service, and we know now the rest of the podcast at least will be safe for all ears, bums, elbows. Listen, so
pilchard replacement service. Does that?
I think that because that's fine because you're replacing the pilchard with something else, and therefore it's not offensive.
Correct.
Because you might be replacing it with something like a pickle, and a pickle isn't offensive. So, a sprat. Who knows?
Just from a cat point of view, they're not going to be happy with that replacement.
No, of course not. No, they're not happy. They were not happy with the pilchard, they weren't happy with the pilchard either. So they're not. They're never happy. It's just how it is.
Can you stop saying that word?
It's true.
Thank you. Stop saying it.
Oh yeah,
stop saying it. Stop saying pilchard, everybody.
Yeah, just say P word. The P word. They're not happy with the
P word. Not happy with the P.
Not happy with P's.
Speaking of P, do I have time to go to the toilet?
Wait.
No, you don't.
Well,
no,
I don't. Are you sure?
I don't know. It depends on how. Where are you just going to go right there?
It takes a really long time.
Right, it takes probably. I mean, it's kind of.
It takes a really long time.
But you doing it?
Ages.
Are you just doing it where you are, or do you have to leave?
Well, I can go wherever.
Right.
It's like a skill.
Right.
I'm really good at it.
Wow.
No,
I mean, if you're just going to do it while we're talking, I don't think anyone will. We couldn't hear the dolphin noise. I don't think we'll just hear you going to the loo.
Oh no, it's loud too. It is.
I thought
loud.
Zoom had filters for that sort of thing. But yeah, sure. I mean, go for it. I don't know how to edit things, but I'm sure it will create sort of an ambient background noise while
like a sort of relaxing, like a meditation.
Yeah, and then Rich, you can
or a massage.
Matt, you can create the sort of ambient background, like I don't know, it might be I don't know how you go. It might be like whale sounds, or it could be like sort of waterfalls, and then Rich can answer the question to this lovely sort of what do you call it? Soundscape. Does that work?
Yeah, because rather than whale noises, though, could we maybe do my dolphin noise, and Matt could have a wee, I could do my dolphin noise, and everyone could just relax. That'd be quite nice.
That sounds lovely. But then who's gonna? Do I have to? Should I answer the question while you're doing this?
You can just meditate.
Should we just not answer? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, but that's just an idea. We'll put that through the cat flap. We'll just move on. Sorry, that's a cat term. It means we'll just table that.
Right. What do they call a table then?
They call it a.
That makes sense because they eat off the floor. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Well, right. Well, listen. I've had this
as large platform.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Another place to sleep. Yeah. Under over. I've had this question sent in, and this question has been sent in by Micah Micah's said they're from the United States, but they don't specify which bit of. I mean, it's only small, isn't it? The United States, so I think there's probably only like 10 people there or something. So,
where is that? Is that next to Belgium somewhere?
I guess so. I've not really heard of it before. I don't know what goes on there. I don't know what their customs are, but that's where they're from. Anyway, it's very nice to have a listener from such a small, tiny state like that. But they Micah, and I don't know if and I don't know that Micah already could be very. I don't know if they have cats there. I don't know if they have pilchards there. They might not have cat flaps. They might not go to the loo. I don't know.
Don't say that word.
Cat
don't say that word. Don't say pilchard.
No, sorry. No. Go back pilchard.
Cat flap does sound
we'll have to say pilchard replacement
maybe
service.
They've got a pilchard replacement service. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Before we answer this, I don't know where. I don't quite know anything about where Micah is from. The United States. I don't know what they say. But what Micah has asked. This is why I have you two here. I think this question is for you. Micah has asked, where can you find Lemons Are Us?
Oh, interesting. Now,
well, clearly not in the United States.
Yes.
True.
Very true.
Yeah. This sounds like a question for Radio Sense, actually. Because it's a factual question. I mean, what about? Radio. You've heard of Toys R Us?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I have. Yeah, of course.
He's not a monster.
That's right. And there's, Toys R Us. There's millions said Jeffrey all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
So exactly. Well, Lemons Are Us has no connection to Toys R Us.
Okay.
Yeah. But also the thing with lemons is, have you heard that phrase? When life gives you lemons. Have you heard that
when
phrase?
Life gives you lemons, you got a
when
lot
life
of
gives
lemons.
you lemons.
I invented that phrase.
That was the original advertising campaign. That was the original advertising campaign for Lemons Are Us. So when life gives you lemons, you don't need to come to Lemons Are Us.
Right.
That was the original.
I see, because you've already got
advertising.
Lemons. So you don't need any more lemons.
Don't need to go.
Who needs that many lemons? Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but it wasn't a very successful advertising campaign. Sorry, I'm just going to turn off. I've got an alarm going off, which is my lemon alarm when I talk about lemons too much. Hang on, there we go. Stop. Excellent. Matt, have you remember that time we went to Lemons Are Us, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, so well. I remember it so well. What happened again?
Well, we went to their theme day. It was called The Zest is History.
Wow.
And
that's good.
Yeah. And you got to drive a Citroen around the aisles. Don't you remember that?
Oh, beautiful. I remember it so well. I remember so clearly, so vividly. Every detail. It's there in my mind. But what happened again?
Well, you got lost. We drove around in a Citroen, and then you got out and went for a walk, and you got lost. But then you just had to find a lemonade to aid you, and the lemonade showed you where I was, because it's such a big place. Lemons Are Us, only sells lemons. Because, honestly, you can't live without some lemons. Everyone's there. All the people that make Lemsip, that's where they get their lemons from. All the people that have a gin and tonic, like all the grandmas, and the Queen Mother, God bless her soul, she was always the Queen Mother was always at Lemons Are Us. All the time. Really? It's really near Buck House.
Is that why Micah wants to know? Why does Micah want to know how do you find Lemons Are Us? Was that the question?
That's a good question.
No, Micah didn't say anything about why he wants to find Lemons Are Us. He just says, where can you find Lemons Are Us? So I don't think we don't know the motive. I mean, I hope it's a good motive. I hope it's because he needs some lemons, really. I hope it's not because he wants to destroy Lemons Are Us and form his own lemon-themed shop kind of chain, and this is some sort of revenge plot. I hope it's not because maybe he lost his lemon in Lemons Are Us and he's hoping to retrieve it. I don't know. Maybe there's a deeper story here, but all Micah's asked is, where can you find it?
I like the idea that Micah's just standing on a street corner with an empty shopping trolley going, I need lemons. I need them. Where can I find Lemons Are Us?
We've all been there. We've all been there.
I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with if he wants to destroy Lemons Are Us. I mean, what does he want to replace it with? He probably wants to destroy Lemons Are Us, which, as I just mentioned, is near Buckingham Palace. So the Queen Mother in the old days used to go and get one for a gin tonic. But it's Lemons Are Us. If he wants to destroy Lemons Are Us and maybe set up Limes Are Us,
Lime Times. It's going to be Lime Times. That's what he wants to.
Lime Times.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Limark.
Limark. That's dangerous. That's really dangerous.
Nah, can't do it. There's a lot. The limes there are so cheap, though. They are so cheap.
And slightly more...
Limes and Spencer. Is that as good? It's not as good as Limemark, is it?
No.
Limes and Spencer? No,
it doesn't really ring. It sounds like a law firm.
Hello, you've reached Limes and Spencer. Have you had an accident that you think you might be eligible for some compensation? Come down to Limes
They deal
and
with
Spencer.
accidents like getting
just say
lemons in your eye. That's the sort of accidents they'd have to deal with.
We don't know that Limes Are Us isn't a law firm, can I? Lemons Are Us isn't a law firm.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, we do. I'm telling you, it's not. We've been to Lemons Are Us.
Can I?
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember going so well. It's like there. I can see it in my mind. But what happened again?
Well, you got into big trouble because there was this whole aisle of young lemons that were still green, and you were like, "Oh, look, it's the lime aisle." And we almost got chucked out. I was so offended.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
But
I'm also aware that I worry, obviously Micah's written this sentence very nicely, but I do worry I've read it wrongly, and it could be, where can you find Lemon's Russ? And Lemon's Russ is, just a guy called Russ who's got a lot of lemons. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, like you might throw a lemon.
Hello, my name's Lemon Russ. What do you want? Why are you banging on the big yellow door? Lemon Russ, get out of here with your zest. I'm not giving you any of my skin for your cakes or pie or even slice. You're not going to slice this Lemon Russ.
Wow. He's an angry guy.
If you knocked on his door.
Yeah. He's quite bitter, I hear. Yeah. Wow. I mean, so do you...
Can be pithy sometimes.
Can be pithy.
Well,
can be pithy. Yeah.
He's got an acid sense of humour, though. Acid sense of humour.
So
he hates the Great British Bake Off.
I don't like the Great British Bake Off. Best in my cousins.
Wow. So I mean, maybe Micah wants to find Lemon Russ and to calm him down. I don't know. Maybe he's got a score to settle with. I'm just saying,
Well, if he wants to calm down, Matt can have a wee and I can do my dolphin noises.
It's a great idea.
Oh yeah,
it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you. I feel like you've answered Mika's question wonderfully. We know it's near Buckingham Palace. If he wants lemons or us, I hope it's not for nefarious means. And if he wants to find Lemon's Russ, we don't know where he lives, and I think it'd be rude to give out his address.
Or maybe they've got their whole thing like maybe Mika's got the whole thing like messed up, and all of the letters are in the wrong way, and it's like maybe they're after Lemon USSR.
Oh wow!
Or Lawn Sums. Like we need to get to the bottom of this, and Rich and I are going to start a true crime podcast to get to the bottom of this, aren't we, Rich? Aren't we? Are we? Can we?
Yeah.
Can we?
Are you on anagram.com? Is that where you are?
No, I did it with my brain.
No, you didn't.
I did it with my brain.
It was very impressive.
I did not Google that. I don't even know what Google is. I've never been on the internet. But also, can I suggest, if you want to find out where lemons are is, Google it.
Yeah, I mean, I also, there is something that we haven't mentioned, that one way apparently to keep cats out of your garden, if they are endlessly pooing in your garden, is to put lemons in the garden. And
or a lemon in their bum. Do you know what I mean? That could be the solution for a lot of problems, actually. Just put a lemon in there.
Right.
Put a lemon in there.
Matt,
maybe Mika is just preparing for the inevitable future, which is now only an hour away. And that's...
Well, if we've got a bunch of... The future is a bunch of angry cats with lemons up their bum. Welcome to Australia.
At least it would make
Welcome, guy.
They clean themselves a bit sort of more like fresh, and their hairballs might be a bit easier to spit out if they're lemon flavored.
Lemon scented.
Yeah.
There's lemon flavored, but there's also pine fresh. So you can use a pine cone as well.
Lovely. I think that's
yeah.
Wow. Well, listen. Thank you, you two. And I hope Mika is happy with his answer. And if not, I mean, he could probably write his complaint on a lemon and send it your way. But
But hang on, no, it can't. Because where is Mika going to get the lemon?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Oh, it's like a snake that's eating its snake that's eating its head that's tailed.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't say that word.
I'm so
sorry.
Doing? I'm so sorry. On a pilchard replacement service. Well,
thank you.
Listen. Yeah. Thank you for your expertise. It's so lovely to have you both back on the show, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Have you got a busy rest of your lives as cats?
Yeah, I mean, apart from all the cat flaps, we actually, Matt and I are recording our own podcast.
What? A rival? It's not Radio Sense.
Which is called the Listies Make You Lolcast. No, Radio Sense is just my podcast, and it's mostly just me doing poetry. I have 2 subscribers, Tarquin and Aurora, and they're both big fans, and they both love stanzas, which is what is in poems.
Right. So it's limericks.
And ditties.
So you're not what the other one is the Listies Make You Lol, and that's is that sensible?
Yeah, but No, don't listen to it.
I try and make it as sensible as possible.
It's not very good. I wouldn't listen to it. In fact, don't even mention it. Don't mention it. No, it's not good.
I won't mention it.
It's not. It's not funny.
It's all right.
No,
I won't. I'll relegate it with Pilchers.
Don't mention.
And we won't say the Listies make you lol on this show ever again.
Yeah, no. But
give it a try. See what you think.
It's not very radio sensible. Our podcast.
Right. That's.
Yeah, it's not. So
I wish it was. I wish it was more sensible. I'm just saying. Because one day it would be great to get Melvin Bragg on.
You got to have a dream, and I respect that. And I also never want to hear.
Can we get Melvin Bragg on and put a lemon up his bum? Is that a thing that can happen? Maybe he could like this. Maybe the podcast could be like in our time with lemons up our bums, and he just sort of talks to prominent academics about like social issues, but everyone has a lemon up their bum.
I mean.
Okay.
Is that a show? Let's do that one. Don't listen to our podcast or this one.
I hope that happens. And you know, as a final thing, Rich, I just wonder if you could quickly get through that cat flap before we go.
Okay, here I go.
You. Oh, okay.
Ready? Are you watching?
We are watching. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, he's caught. Oh, wow. Oh, he's caught. He's caught. Oh, he's caught. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, this is... Oh. Well, it's been lovely. Lovely chatting to you two. I'm going to leave... Oh, that's awful. I really wish I hadn't witnessed that.
Oh, ow. Ow. Oh, ow. Rich, are you right?
Matt, can you come and help me out of this cat flap? I'm really partially stuck at a cat flap.
Okay. Oh,
we've got to go.
Okay.
Tina, we've got to go.
Great to see you.
I'm sorry, we've got to
go. Escaping that.
Nice to talk to you. Rich, I think I know how to fix it. I will just put a lemon up your bum.
Thanks so much to Matt and Rich, aka the Listies, for answering Micah's very important question. Micah, I do hope you liked your answer about finding lemons or us, and if you didn't, then maybe write to Radio Sense and complain about it, as then I won't hear it, and I never listen to that show as it's terrible. The Listies do their own absolutely hilarious podcast called The Listies Make You Lolcast, and they're soon to have a mystery podcast too called Who Dealt It. Lolcast is on all podcast places now, and I believe Who Dealt It will also be on all podcast places very soon too. They also have very funny music you can find online. My favourite is the I Like Bananas song, and they've got 2 excellently silly books too, so go check out everything that the Listies do. That is an order. And if you have a question that you need answering, or you want to send in anything else at all, then get your globby smell funguses, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. Do check out our live shows at comedyclubforkids.co.uk, grab our t-shirts and book at comedyclubforkids.store, and the big one this week, subscribe and listen to Bust or Trust, a kids mystery podcast, and let us know what you think. Oh, okay, I mean, I'm not sure if you can hear, but I'm now lying very still on the floor to save as much energy as possible, and I'm trying very hard to not move anything except my lips as I say this. I also unplugged everything, including the fridge, which caused it to defrost, and several stinky hippos floated out of the window. I don't think I'll get those back now. And all the lights are still off, which meant while trying to find things to unplug, I accidentally removed someone's left shoe, not sure who that was, the toilet, and 16 piano keys. So, I must be saving all the energy now, right? No one could be using less energy than me. Ah, wait. What is this bucket tied to a piece of string plugged into? Ah, well, that has to go. You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. Radio nonsense! Radio nonsense! Radio nonsense! Radio nonsense! Radio nonsense! It's the end.